Has this ever happened to you where your base of your vase is not properly stabilized and the flowers just kind of hang out doing whatever they want? Well, I know a lot of people try to fix this with rocks or sand, but I got something better for you, a little less messy, and that is foam. And I have simple green foam here. This is just actually styrofoam we're going to be using, and I filled 2 pots with it. And I'll show you both these in the tutorial, so stay tuned and we'll check that out. So first step, we need to decide what kind of foam we're using. Now this is what you can usually find in craft stores, and this is wet floral foam. And this one comes in a 4-pack. And the purpose of this is to soak the bricks entirely in water and then use these with fresh flowers, as you can see in this picture. Okay, and 1 brick of that looks like this. And I'm going to cut this open so we can see what's on the inside of this one. Okay, and this is a really fine foam, so it's going to hold your water very well. But I use a lot of fake flowers, so something like this does work for me. But when I'm filling a pot, for example, I have 2 right here. This is a little bit dirty because it's been used before. Sorry about that. But that's what we're using today because these are going in more greenery. I want it to look like grass, and so if they're not white, these are painted green. That'll actually help me. So anyway, something like this, we could always use something like this and just stick it straight down, but for this purpose, fake flowers, I don't want to waste this. We're going to use regular green styrofoam, and that's what I have here. I have 2 pieces. Now this is very thick. Okay, this is 4-inch foam, so that's pretty thick. This would go nicely in our pot, but I'd actually have to shave a bunch off the top. Do you see that? It's just too thick for the pot we're going to be using. I don't want to waste a bunch, so we're just not going to be using this today. That's why I have this piece. Okay, also green styrofoam. You guys can see that. It's a little thinner, so we're going to use this one. And let me cut off a corner of this so you can see what's on the inside. It's basically more of the same. So this is same all the way through. We have our giant green foam here, and this is actually 12 inches by 36 inches. It's a huge sheet here, and I buy a large box when I buy floral foam. I don't use the white often. Let me grab that for you. So as you can see, this has thicker let's call it bubbles. So you can put flowers into something like this, and if you're not going to be using it a lot, this isn't a big deal. But if you want to reuse stuff over and over, well look, now there's a hole in it. See all these previous holes? So if you want to go and put another flower in the future, it's not as tight because now your holes become void pretty much. This is like a one use type of foam. So this is why I like the green stuff. You can use it a ton and it's really easy to carve. Alright, so tools we're going to be using. I've got a hammer. I'll show you why we need that. These are actually floral sticks. They're sort of like dowel rods. You could use a dowel rod if you can't find these anywhere. And these come in handy for a multitude of things actually. To make flowers longer, because you can just floral tape them to the end to make them longer. Or also to hold our foam down in our pot, and I'll show you guys that. And then I have 2 knives here, and you want something with a serrated edge. This actually was a cake knife once upon a time, and this has a little serrated edge to cut through the foam. Now, and then this is just the saw we have, which is good if you're cutting straight, but if you start to do anything round at all, it sort of gets caught up in there, so you want to be cautious of that. So. Alright, so next step, we have our foam here, we have our dirty pot, and we're going to place it right in there and cut around it. Basic outline right there. Alright, went ahead and snap that off. We're going to do it again. there we go. So easy peasy. And we're just going to shape up the edges a bit. Okay, also make sure you do this in a place you don't mind getting dirty. This foam just gets everywhere and it sticks to ya, these little pieces. Alright, so I think we have a usable shape. We can sort of pop it in there a little bit, so we'll be able to smash that down. Next step is I have this, and it is cling wrap. Now this is pretty old, okay? It's like coming out over here. And the floral adhesive that really sticks, and it does. It's extremely sticky. Okay, so this is what this one looks like, and it is just green sticky adhesive on this brown tape, and that's just to keep it separated in the roll. Okay, so what we do is just peel this off. We're going to wrap it around our green foam. Now we have a pretty tight seal anyway, so we don't necessarily need this. But I want this to last for a very long time. And sometimes people with arrangements, they will pull them to pick them up by the flowers or the stems or the leaves, and it just pulls it right out of its base. You know, always pick up flower arrangements by the base, people. But anyway, this helps, so when people do that, they don't damage it. And then we're just going to smash it down in there. Alright, so there we go. Perfectly flat and nice workspace for us. And now we are going to, I'll do this one, which is a little taller and a little more difficult. So for this one, I'm going to take some of my leftovers here, and we are going to do 2 layers to work it up in there. Same thing, we're going to carve this out. Same thing, we're going to use more of that floral adhesive. This time, we're just going to put it right across the bottom. So we want to make sure this sticks down in there. Alright, and now we are going to do the same thing with another piece, but we want to do obviously a little bit higher, so it's not going to be as small, okay? So I'm just going to hang this over a bit and get the shape from there. Alright, so that is pretty good. More floral adhesive, and this is just going to go around the sides, and we're going to stick this one down in there. Okay, now this one we're going to use one of these floral sticks, and this is just so it doesn't come out. They don't separate, they stay in there very nicely. And for this, you can just stick them in anywhere, one in the center and the sides. Just stick it in there, tap it down. And then with some diagonal cutters or some pliers, just trim it. And since our other piece is still good, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. And just hammer it in there. Alright, so that was pretty easy. So, 2 floral arrangements ready to go. Now I know this one is not exactly to the top, but that's not an issue because we're going to be covering them. but this is clearly 2 layers of foam. It's enough foam for whatever we're sticking in there to hold tight. And that's the point of foam, to hold things tight in there. And alright, so we cleaned up a bit and we have our 2 foam pots. But this is kind of ugly, and if I put an arrangement in there, you're going to see the greenery, the green foam, and that's not cool. So we want to put something in there. Now I like to use, if you're going to see it, some sheet moss. And you can buy any of the stuff I'm going to show you here in your local craft store, like the floral section. Okay, so this is basically just green moss, and you can see, you just put it on there and piece it together. And let's do that. And then I have some floral pins here, also called greening pins, by the way. But everything is floral, right, when you're working with flower arrangements. Alright, so simple, you just stick them in at the sides. Alright, so that one's done. And then this one, this is called Spanish moss, and I'm sure you guys have seen this before. This is brown because I'm out of my green, which makes me so sad. But they sell these in huge bags. They're really cheap. I buy actually a pound of this stuff in a box at a time, and I think it's only a few bucks, so that's pretty good. I'll show you guys this. Tons of Spanish moss, right? Enough for everyone. And I got this through Doris, which also sells to Packetans and Joann's, so you'll be able to find that. Alright, so that was really easy, and now we are ready to put in an arrangement. But that's all I'm showing you guys today, just how to foam the pots. So hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, check out my info bar for additional information. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like the video, if you want to see more little tutorials like this. And also don't forget to subscribe so you can stay tuned for other cool crafty videos we're making. And thank you so much for watching. Talk about putting foam in pots.